We'll get to our interview in just a moment, but first I wanted to take a moment to remind you that National Physicians Week is underway right now. This year's theme is Medicine and More in 2024, and we're celebrating the doctors who not only excel in healthcare, but also pursue other passions that inspire us all. From authorship and speaking events to philanthropy and the arts, our physicians are making a difference. This week, we acknowledge Dr. Kimberly Jackson, the founder of National Physicians Week. So please join us in honoring Dr. Jackson and all of our favorite physicians by sharing their stories with hashtag Medicine and More 2024. Let's show our appreciation for all of our healthcare heroes. Tune in for special episodes highlighting the inspiring talents of doctors everywhere. Happy National Physicians Week from all of us at RX for Success and MD Coaches.
And it's also time for doctors as well to kind of educate the community about who we are, what do we do, what exactly is involved in us giving you the care, and how we also as healers sometimes need to be healed as well. And not like this type of, oh, we deserve a pat on the back. It's one of those things where we really just want to say, hey, we love what we do. We care about you. These are the things that are required. These are the things we give. And then for those that wish and want to express concern, we let you know we appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Paging Dr. Cook. Paging Dr. Cook. Dr. Cook, you're wanted in the OR. Dr. Cook, you're wanted in the OR.
Welcome to the Prescription for Success podcast with your host, Dr. Randy Cook.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on Prescription for Success. I'm Dr. Randy Cook, your host for the podcast, which is a production of MD Coaches, providing leadership and executive coaching for physicians by physicians. To overcome burnout, transition your career, develop as a leader, or whatever your goal might be, visit MD Coaches on the web at mymdcoaches.com because you're not in this alone. And don't forget that CME credit is available when you listen with us. Just look for CMFI in the show notes to learn how. My guest today is a return visitor to the podcast. We first interviewed Dr. Kimberly Jackson back in March of 2021. Much of that conversation was focused on National Physicians Week because Dr. Jackson was actually responsible for starting the movement that created National Physicians Week back in 2016. It is continuing to attract more interest every year. So let's hear my conversation with Dr. Kimberly Jackson. I'm really happy today to be welcoming back to Prescriptions for Success Dr. Kimberly Jackson over in the Phoenix City, Columbus, Georgia area. Looking forward to the conversation, Kim, and welcome back to the show.
Hi, Randy. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, I'm certainly excited to have you, and we actually are having you back this time for much the same reason that we did last time. This show will be released on the beginning of National Physician Week this week, which you played a big part in, and that's a large part of what we're going to be talking about. One thing that I would like to do is to give people a little bit of background on you. I'll point out that we interviewed you way back in 2021, episode number 44. That was way on back there. And I mention that so that if we have any listeners that haven't heard that episode before, it's episode number 44. I highly recommend that you go back and hear it because Dr. Jackson has such an interesting origin story. And along those lines, Kim, just to get us underway before we get to the meat of the conversation, I do want you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Mississippi and not really a lot of medical influencers in your family. You want to give us the elevator pitch on how that came about?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I grew up in Mississippi. I grew up on a farm. As a matter of fact, my parents had 9 children. And so that was like coming in that era because we grew up there. So used to taking care of family, taking care of land. And being the oldest daughter, I had to take care of the wonderful honor and privilege to take care of my younger siblings. Of course, I may have not felt that way during that time. So I've always had this kind of like, just caring for other people, being there, empathy, that kind of thing. And I did good in the sciences. And so when I was in high school, it was like, well, what do you want to be? And I was like, well, possibly I want to be a nurse. And at that time, a minister said, well, why not, go all the way and become a physician? Yeah. And so that kind of sparked something in me. And I talked to the counselor at the time, and I shadowed an emergency room physician, loved what I saw, and decided I wanted to be a doctor. My family was very supportive. They were very excited. I would be the first, physician in the family.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things. And it's actually been kind of a like hometown kind of, not so much heroine or, hero, but basically they've been very, very proud of me and always excited to share that, hey, she grew up in Mississippi, Bastrop, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. She's a doctor and, she came from us and she's, still here in the community as far as the South, taking care of patients and taking care of my siblings. They would laugh at that because they know it's true.
I bet they really are proud of you, and rightfully so. And just a little bit about how you ended up in the Phoenix City, Columbus area.
Oh, absolutely. Funny story, Randy. I did medical school at William Carey College, which is now William Carey University. And after I finished college and got my BS in biology, minor in chemistry, some cum laude, so it was all that wonderful, awesome things. And then went to the University of Mississippi, which was at that time, the only medical school in the state of Mississippi. And of our class, 100 students, 3 of the students were persons of color as far as African Americans. And I was one of those students. And
did you say 3?
3.
Wow.
Yes, 3. That is, it's actually one of the things as part of just my testimony and story of how, wow, to have gotten to this level. And so when I was in Mississippi, completing my medical school education, I ended up meeting my daughter's father, who was a soldier, and he was actually becoming a first sergeant in the military. And he wooed me and dated me and swept me off my feet. And so we ended up getting married and moved to the area we are now, Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix, Alabama. So there's Fort Benning here that is now Fort Moore. And so he finished off his military career here. And so that's how I ended up being in the area. And then when we did kind of our research and figured things out, we discovered there were no, at the time, and I'm thinking actually I still am, the only African-American female family medicine physician in the area that has her own, like, say, private clinic. So,
really?
Yes. So some people ask me, why aren't you in Columbus, Georgia? And I'm like, because I'm where I need to be. So
I guess from the standpoint of private practice, that kind of makes sense.
Yes.
Undoubtedly, there are other African-American female physicians in the area, but to be in private practice, that is a significant accomplishment. So, and Columbus and Phoenix City are clearly fortunate to have you.
Well, thank you.
Let's go ahead and talk about, what's going to be on our mind today and this week, or the week of that this episode is published. You not only became a very successful physician, you became a very successful promoter and cheerleader and source of encouragement and source of inspiration for physicians through a number of different projects that you became involved with. And let's just start with a little bit about physicians working together. You want to tell us that story?
Oh, absolutely. And so to finish even with the story of my college being a university, William Carey University now, it is now the second medical school in the state of Mississippi. So I was like going to be destined to be a doctor either way, it seems. And so finished medical school and then did residency here in Columbus, Georgia, because that's where he was stationed at Fort Moore now. And after finishing there, deciding what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, you get thrown into, Randy, you get thrown from this kind of bubble of a world when you're a medical student and resident to the real world.
Right.
And the real world, for those that are practicing physicians, we know is hugely different. So just trying to balance, patient care. And then, of course, I started off first working at a clinic and then branched off working with another physician. Then we branched off and opened our own clinic. And you just discover it's just so many things pulling at you. You got charge. You have, of course, patients' care and concerns. You have billing. You have insurance.
That sounds like a pretty brave thing to do. You're relatively early in your career, right?
Correct. Yeah. I'd only been out of residency.
You decided to just jump out there and be in business all by yourself.
Well, it was one of those things I do have to give credit to where credit's due. And so that was one of the things that was with the kid's dad, because he was like seeing how everything worked. He was like, you know what? I think it'd be better if we work for ourselves. And then you have the ability to make the decisions about your patient care at the point of contact.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go through the powers that be and the red tape and all this kind of thing. And so I was like, okay, well, you know what? If it'll be a situation where someone else can manage like maybe personnel and money, and I can focus on being a physician, which of course, as you and I both know, if you're going to have your own clinic, you're going to have to still participate in personnel and money too.
You really do.
But it was one of those things of, okay, you know what, God, if you can help us get the funding and the place and all these things, we'll do it. And so the name of our clinic is Jackson Point of Light. And some people say point of life. It actually is light, LIGHT, family medicine. And it's all about being a light in the community. We're not the only light. He is the light. And there are more sources of light. But for us, we wanted to just be, a blessing to the community. Stepping out on faith, opening this practice, deciding that we're going to, be here for the people of this community and the Tri-City area. And then you just discover sometimes you feel like you're alone. And so as far as how physicians working together came about, it was a couple of incidents, a couple of things that occurred. One, patients' concerns about not being able to see the doctor that they wanted to, about the whole surge of like many urgent cares that didn't have physicians on site. So you felt like, patients were getting shortchanged because you're not really sure who you're going to see. And then you have this kind of breakdown of continuity of care. You had burnout of physicians and physicians, taking their life, unfortunately. So it was all these things. And that was also around the time that kind of the breakdown of the physician lounge was going, because a lot of times you would meet with people and do that because the kind of old school way of medicine was you had a doc and they took care of the patients outpatient and inpatient, and you may have went to their homes and all those things. And medicine was just changing. And that's, it's not to say a good or a bad thing. I mean, it's pros and cons to both, because even myself as a working mom, when I first started out, I was rotating and I was rounding at 4 hospitals. And
wow.
I would do my clinic, and then I would round at 4 hospitals. And those weekends I was on call, which is like maybe 1 in 3, 1 in 4. I really just didn't see my family. I literally felt like I lived in the hospital.
I bet.
Part of that was you got a chance to see other doctors and not doing it. As we kind of went away from that model to now we have more hospitalists and those kind of things, I felt like that connection with physicians was lost. And so we were kind of all in our silos. We were doing stuff and we weren't really aware of what was sometimes going on with each other and didn't realize that we could be a resource for others. So with physicians working together, I was like, you know what? How about, and a colleague threw this out too, how about we use social media? At that time, it wasn't as huge of a thing as it is now. And so we started a Facebook group, 3 people, and now over 8,000. And so Physicians Working Together is out there. We're blazing a path for unity, connection, collaboration. We're doing medical student scholarships. We're looking into medical student mentorship so they can connect with physicians that are practicing, and even for our residents, and just also being this kind of umbrella organization that highlights other organizations like even yours, that these things are out here for people to connect and learn and not feel so alone, and just feel like they can collaborate and we can make things better for everyone. So that was like the whole premise behind Physicians Working Together. And I'm excited that we'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary next year. So this is the 9th National Physicians Week, but 10 years, and just by the grace of God, and we're looking for a lovely gala that we're going to do, and there'll be more information about that too for folks that want to support our cause and what we're doing.
Are you a doctor struggling to provide the best care for your patients while dealing with financial and caregiving matters out of the scope of your practice? Do you find yourself scrambling to keep up with the latest resources and wish there was an easier way? Then this virtual caregiver conference resource will save you time, money, and sanity by giving you all the resources and information your patients need in one place. This conference helps you and your patients enlist the best strategies around healthcare resources and the best financial steps for your patients while navigating caregiving situations. You don't have to go home feeling frustrated and helpless because you couldn't connect your patients with the best services. Find out more at jeanniedoherty.com or click in the link in the show's notes. You don't want to miss this caregiver resource.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Crow, founder and CEO for MD Coaches. Here on RX for Success, we interview a lot of great medical professionals on how they grew their careers, how they overcame challenges, and how they handle day-to-day work. I really hope you're getting a lot of great information. But if you're looking for an answer to a specific problem, management or administration challenge, or if you're feeling just a bit burnt out, like maybe you chose the wrong career, well, then there's a faster way to get the help you need. No, it's not counseling, it's coaching. RX for Success is produced by MD Coaches, a team of physicians who have been where you are. I know you're used to going it alone, but you don't have to. Get the support you need today. Visit us at mymdcoaches.com to schedule your complimentary consultation. Again, that's mymdcoaches.com, because you're not in this alone.
We'll get back to our interview in just a moment, but right now I want to tell you a little bit about Physician Outlook. If you haven't discovered this remarkable magazine, please do so very soon. It was created by physicians, for physicians, to showcase the intersection between clinical and non-clinical interests, whether it's writing, painting, cooking, politics, and dozens of other topics. Physician Outlook gives a physician perspective. It's available online and in print. It's really unique among physician lifestyle magazines. And like the Prescription for Success podcast, Physician Outlook amplifies the voice of any physician who has something to say. It also engages patients who still believe in physician-led, team-based care. And Prescription for Success listeners can get 3 months free when you enter our promo code RX for Success and select the monthly option at checkout. That's a really great deal on this stunning publication. And now let's get back to today's interview. I'm going to have to say that considering all the things that were going on, all the balls that you had in the air, what do you think it is about you that made you think that you had the time and the reserve and the energy to start something as potentially demanding as physicians working together?
Oh my gosh, that is an excellent question. And I wonder myself, because literally I started residency expecting my first child. I told someone, how in the world was I getting up, say, 4 or 5 in the morning, breastfeeding, rounding, doing stuff. And I think, Randy, a lot of times it's one of those things of, with my background of, being with my large family, and we work the farm and we do stuff. Yeah. You get up, you get it done. You got to get it done. I mean,
you don't ask questions.
You don't ask questions. You get it done. You see a need, you step into that need and you do it. And of course, if you have a good support system where there are, friends or family or folks in your community that support you. And so not being from the area, I had a small circle, but I did have, of course, because Dad did what he needed to do to make sure the clinic and the girls were okay. And then I had this lovely lady that she's moved to Florida now that helped watch my baby. And so, as you build up your network and you get into the church and different things like that. So it allowed me to be able to do some of those things that if I was trying to do just absolutely everything by myself, I wouldn't be able to do. And it's just that gumption, I guess, that inside part of me that's like, okay, this is something that needs to be done. Let's focus. Let's get it done. Let's do it to the best of our ability. And I've had different physicians and different persons that have been in different stages of PWT that also have come in and they help with different things. And so as far as like National Physicians Week, I'll always have to get shout out to Dr. Miriam Mass. I know you've talked to her as well. Mm-hmm. And her and her husband seeing the vision and being willing to support us with getting the finances through National Day calendar to get that on the calendar. So that's part of it. Is just the drive, the gumption, the belief, the faith, the support, just to kind of get it done. And I don't sometimes, bad or good, think it all through in the sense of, okay, I got this. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, it's got to be done. Let's get it done. And so,
well, what I hear is that you are a believer in the concept that in the end, it really does take a village, doesn't it?
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you have surrounded yourself with quite a village. So let's talk a little bit more. Let's get more into the details of National Physicians Week and National Physicians Day, which will actually be, I think I mentioned, releasing this episode on March 25. Which came first for you? Was it Physicians Week or Physicians Day?
So essentially, just a little history for everyone. There's always been National Doctors Day, which was first observed in March 30th in 1933. And I actually went to the museum in Winder, Georgia, or actually the area is now in Georgia.
Oh, do they have a museum there? I didn't know that.
Yes. And I want to say, look, don't quote me on the actual location, but it is in Georgia, where it's highlighting the person that, of course, Doctors Day was started after when they first gave the anesthesia, one of the first to give anesthesia, right? And so that was March 30th and 33. And then on October 30th in 1990, I want to say that's when President at that time, George Bush, signed a resolution for public law designating March 30 as National Doctors Day. So this has been going on for a while, but
Indeed,
what has happened was it had gotten diluted. So the first observation, people were doing greeting cards and placing flowers on the graves, and then they started using the red carnation and that kind of thing. We tie that into it now. But now, of course, we have other healthcare team members. And so we have, nurse practitioners, we have physician assistants. I mean, it used to be just nurse doctor. I mean, even in the nursing field, of course, you have the CNA, and then you have the LPN, and you have the RN, and then you got the nurse practitioner. And then on top of that, you have the medical assistant. So what ended up happening with Doctors Day, it started getting so diluted that pretty much I feel like, people feel like they don't want to offend anybody. They want to be so inclusive. And so Doctors Day just got to be this catch-all for everybody. So it was like, okay, yes. Doctors Day, happy Doctors Day. Well, now do we say happy Doctor/NP Day, happy Doctor/PA Day? And so then it just was like, I don't know, give everybody a prize. You get a car, you get a car, everybody gets a car, whatever.
Participation trophy. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So my thought process was, you know what? I think we need to take it back to the actual persons that it was intended to celebrate on Doctors Day, because at this point, by the time I started National Physicians Week, there was already National Nurses Week. There was already National Nurse Practitioner Week. I mean, they had already set up their stuff in PA Week, and we were still out here sharing our one little day. Right. And then when I would go to schools, because I also participate in like local schools, and they'll do, community health fairs or do career days, and you're going and you're talking to them, and they're confused too. The community doesn't know, well, what is a doctor anymore? What is a physician? Because you got doctor of philosophy, doctor of divinity, doctor of, the doctorate of nursing. And so I felt like, if we had a week, just like the other persons have a week, and now we're looking into maybe we should have a National Physician Month, but more about that another time. And so I was like, if we just do a week and we include Doctors Day in it. So we take it from the 25th through the 31st, and it includes the 30th. And I always joke and say, so if you forget us on the 30th, if you got one more day, the 31st, you can still give us some love. And it'll be an opportunity that folks can share their, appreciation, their encouragement, their, just words of wisdom and stuff for the doctors in their life. The doctors are taking care of them, their families, and doctors in their communities. And it's also time for doctors as well to kind of educate the community about who we are, what do we do, what exactly is involved in us giving you the care, and how we also as healers sometimes need to be healed as well. And not like this type of, oh, we deserve a pat on the back. It's one of those things where we really just want to say, hey, we love what we do. We care about you. These are the things that are required. These are the things we give. And then for those that wish and want to express concern, we let you know we appreciate you taking the time to do that.
And it sounds like this particular Doctor's Day this year is going to be especially meaningful in Columbus, Georgia, because it's also going to be Dr. Kimberly Jackson Day.
I know. How amazing is this? So, I would never, ever thought I would have a day. So once again, just honored, humbled, and shocked. And so the wonderful team and staff led by Jennifer Simpson put in the information, put in the stuff. I didn't even know this is the funny thing that was going on. And of course, my birthday is March 22nd. So it was like, okay, I got a surprise for your birthday. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And so I get the proclamation through the mayor's office that, yes, March 25th, it's Dr. Kimberly F. Jackson Day. And of course, the National Physicians Week starts the 25th through the 31st. So it was like just like the perfect birthday, starting off of the week. And it just really, and I have it framed in my office. And so it's just really highlighting the fact that, physicians working together with our medical student scholarships on a National Physician Week with, collecting and combining and collaborating with physicians, communities, our leaders, and just recognizing my efforts of doing that. And so that it's really cool and very special to me and super excited about it.
I want to say congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And well deserved. And I know you're looking forward to it. I bet it's going to be a great day.
Absolutely.
I want to move over to one other little thing before we have to go. You mentioned earlier but before we actually started recording, that you've got a book coming out pretty soon. So you're to the list of all the things that you do, a boxing club physician and all the things. You're now a published author.
Yes.
Tell us the story behind this. What's the deal?
Awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So, and it ties so much into our theme for this year, right? So every National Physicians Week, we usually, we have a theme that we have for the year. And so we were thinking, what do we want to do for National Physicians Week for 2024? And so we were throwing some things out and some team members were there. And then, and they threw out this and threw out that. And I said, well, how about we, everybody's like, we can talk about more than medicine. We can do this, whatever. I said, well, how about medicine and more in 2024? And so they were like, oh man, that's awesome. It seems so cliche and so just kind of, cutesy, but it means so much. And
yeah, really.
The reality is even what you're doing. I mean, so as you're interviewing now, you have your podcast and all this stuff. This is something outside of clinical medicine, but this is something that enriches our community and blesses others and helps us share more information about what other people are doing. And so for a lot of physicians as well, a lot of people just think of us in the white coat. We're, in the office or in the hospital doing surgery, and they don't even think about, oh, these are actually humans, not robots, or the fact that we have other interests. And so one of the great things about the Physicians Working Together Medical Student Scholarship is we actually highlight the medical students doing something non-clinical. That scholarship is totally for not your academics. Show us what you can do, what things you may do that, de-stressed you or empower your community or your hobby. So we've had folks cook a steak during the pandemic time. We've had folks roller skates. We've had people sing and play music. We've had people dance. So with this whole thing of medicine and more in 2024, it's funny because the team was talking about, and you're exemplifying it because you wrote a book. So with the book, which is The Sun is Rising, and it's 10 ways to get unstuck. And it's to find your purpose, it's to find your voice, walk in your purpose, and it's to become, to live passionately and to step outside of your box. And so it's what I've exemplified. It's what I've done. And I look back and I'm amazed at the things that have happened and so excited about my story, hopefully being a blessing to others. I have a friend that said, it's a great book and it's going to, bless the multitudes. It's going to inspire them. And that's the best thing to hear. And it still lets people know that, yes, even as we talk about medicine and more, I have more growth. I have more things I want to do. I want to continue to improve. But at this point, I'm just excited about being able to share some of the things I've went through to let people know, yeah, I didn't get to this point immediately. There was a process, there was people say, a test that gives you a testimony that helps me become the person I am. So I'm super excited about it. People can pre-order now at inspireandempower.org, and it will be shipping on my birthday, March 22nd.
March 22nd.
March 22nd.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting that in my hands. I know
absolutely,
just because of my very brief relationship with you, that it's bound to be very inspirational, and I'm looking forward to that. And I want to thank you for being here with us today. We like to get behind as many physician efforts as we can, and this one is so worthy. Such an honor for me to actually have a conversation with the founding individual behind Physicians Day and Physicians Week, and to tell you how grateful I am, and I'm sure other physicians feel exactly the same way, that you are such a giving and selfless person, that you put the effort into all this, because it sounds to me like it's a lot of work. I don't know how you get it all done, but
it is sometimes
you really
some sleepless nights.
And you have. Well, I bet that's true, and yet again, you exemplify that. You don't really think about where the effort's going to come from. You just know things need to be done, and you make it happen. We could use more people like you.
Well, thank you, Randy. That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate that.
Well, I have enjoyed speaking with you on our previous podcast, and I thank you so much for being with us again today. And I want to wish you the best of luck for a very successful Physicians Day and Physicians Week. I know it's going to be a great celebration, and especially Kimberly F. Jackson Day in Columbus, Georgia. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I definitely want to just take the opportunity to thank everyone, every hospital, every organization that has already celebrated National Physicians Week, and encourage them to continue to do it and spread the word. And those that are your listeners and other friends or family, just know it can be something as simple as just saying thank you to your doc. Yes, you can send a carnation. Yes, you could do some Zoom or virtual celebration. You can do videos. You can encourage and do posts and that kind of thing. But literally just saying thank you a lot of times is what most people will appreciate and just understand and remember. So appreciate everyone that celebrated. Appreciate you giving the day, the platform, the week, the platform to be discussed and shared. And I just hope it continues to grow and continues to bless other people and lets the world know that physicians do care about them and their families. And Physicians Working Together is here because we want to connect, collaborate, because we do care about you all and everyone, and our physicians, students, communities, leaders, everyone.
Dr. Kimberly Jackson, thank you so much for being with us, and good luck with another successful Physicians Week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening with us today. If you enjoyed the show, you can help us reach more listeners by leaving a rating and a review, especially on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or a voicemail through SpeakPipe. You can also help by becoming a Patreon member. That link is in the show notes as well. And we hope you'll also follow our companion podcast, Life-Changing Moments with Dr. Dale Waxman. Very special thanks to our producer, Craig Clausen, our promotions manager, Mariana Rodabaugh, and to Ryan Jones, who created and performs our theme music. And remember, be sure to fill your prescription for success with my next episode.